Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Scarbo here. Happy Solstice. Solstice is occurring tomorrow, actually, around I think it's 11:13 or somewhere around there at night, or 11:31, something like that. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing the astrology of the week ahead, which is it going to be the rest of the month? Well, I'll be doing the week ahead anyway, and I'll talk more directly about the astrology. But two things, of course, the sun is moving into Cancer, as it does on the first day of summer, but it's also the longest day. So the sun is at its peak strength, and the light is at its peak. What is considered the light is at its peak. And now the darkness returns very, very gradually at first, but we don't notice it. And then when you get to around September, you notice it. October and then November and December generally feel pretty dark as far as here up in the Northern Hemisphere. So we are sort of, and now it's like, and this, honestly, this year and last year, and when you think about what people have been through and how it's disrupted everything, we've gone through a lot of very big shifts. And this summer, I don't think is going to be, this summer, I think is going to be a continuation of that. But not necessarily the feelings that we had over the last few years of feeling powerless, right? And I feel like the universe gave us those struggles so that we could heal some of our traumas. Because I don't know about you, but every week during the last administration, every day, another hit, another like remembrance of like how terrible something felt, or how like children at the border, or whatever it was, whatever the thing was, um, you know, uh, digging in the wildlife refuge, all the things, the women's rights and children's rights and people's rights and human rights, and equality and equanimity. Sorry, I never could say that word. All the things that were important to me, just like battered and bruised and abused. And I think on a certain level for me, it really honed my values, like the things that are really important to me. Of course, I knew that. I knew that. And when you know what's important, and not just to you, but just what's important to all of us. It's not just about what's important to me. Um, some people are wired that way and some people aren't, right? Luckily for us now, Biden is more wired that way. He's wired towards conciliation and relationship and interaction and melding and blending and creating. He has a lot of Scorpio in his chart, and Scorpio is like the death of the old, and in the ashes, something new is being reborn. He's actually the perfect energetically. No matter what his political leanings are, he's never been progressive enough for me. But that's that. That is actually in the past, because what's important is what's happening in the moment. And I think that his energy sort of gives us that feeling of that we can do things together and we're better together and all of those things, which is true, right? It's true. And we do sort of need to get in a much more cooperative way. And we need to learn how to be with each other. We need to learn how to interact with people and where to come from. A lot of the old stories that held us together are gone or are leaving. And so we get to tell our story. We get to decide what direction. We have free will. What are you going to do? You know? And I was actually taught that free will was you have the free will not to choose your destiny or to choose your destiny. Those are the two choices. And you have the opportunity to make it as a human, as somebody who was endowed with free will. It sounds great, free will does. But generally, you know, it depends on the lifetime. So I wanted to get on tonight. I wanted to get on for nights. I've been just my life with the purge that we had here in the house, getting rid of a whole lot of like things that, you know, were just like junk in some cases, or in some cases things that I loved that were broken. You know, those things are hard to let go of. I had to let go of an organ, a Wurlitzer that my father had bought me when I was studying to play the organ. I think I was like 12. Yeah, 12 or 13. I was learning how to play the organ. And I did it for a couple of years, and we had like this really nice music teacher come in, and he'd give me lessons, and you know, and all of that. And it didn't work. The organ didn't work. And then, you know, because we live in an old farmhouse really with a fieldstone foundation, it's really hard to keep the mice out. And it's sort of the porch, so it's very easy for them to get on the porch. And so the organ had become a super highway for mice, including like a rest stop, if you know what I mean. So there was no keeping it and fixing it. So I had to put it in the dumpster, and that was really hard because that was something that my father gave me, and you know, I learned music on it. So, and you know, music, and I kind of felt bad because I was like, I would have really liked to been able to fix it, or I wish it hadn't broken, because it would have been nice to, you know, play a little music now and again. It's fun, you know. I'd have to practice and maybe do a little studying, because it was, I don't know, 48 years ago or something crazy like that, right? Yeah, so that's funny. But you know, so we had that, and then my mother is, you know, she's gonna be 101, and I feel like she's leaving. And in fact, yesterday she slept a lot, which she never does. And at one point, I went in and checked on her. She was so quiet, so peaceful. So I just let her sleep, because she doesn't always sleep at night. So I thought maybe she'd have to catch up. But when I went over to her, you could feel the coldness in the room. It literally felt a lot colder. And I feel like her family was around her from the other side, like my family, her family, my family was there, and they're all there, and they're all like they crowd in her room. And when I went over to her, she was cold. Her face was cold. Usually, you know, she says she's cold, and you touch her and she's warm, but she was cold. And but you know, she was alive. And I said, would you like I like nudged her a little bit, and I said, would you like a hot cup of tea with some cookies? She's like, okay. So I made her a cup of tea and gave her some cookies. And it sort of brought life back into her. It was interesting. But she's that close. She's that close that she's going to be leaving soon. And tomorrow is the solstice, and I wanted to do a reading for the solstice, for the summer season, because I think it's going to be like, you know, it's not going to be more of the same. It's just going to be, just things are going to be happening, and they're going to be happening quickly, and we're going to have to sort of navigate that. So I want to do this reading for the solstice, for the summer, for all you watchers out there, for all you people who watch me in the morning and wait for me to forget what day it is sometimes. But I know what's going on in the stars. I just don't always know what day I'm in. And like seeing all the bunnies and the chipmunks, and the other day, all the baby birds are out now, right? It's the height of summer. All the baby birds are born, and the yard is like replete with like chirping and singing and chirping and singing. It's like music. It's amazing. They're so loud this year, and there's so many babies. But we feed them. We want them to have a place where they can nest and it can be their home, because a lot of places in the world, and in the United States, they cut down all these trees to build like box stores that eventually nobody's going to be using. Nobody's going to go to the store. They'll just do Amazon. I mean, it comes right to your door. Why would you even go to the store? So, and they're cutting down trees and habitat, and so we try to keep it as wild as we can here, and keeps without like having to worry that every time like we have to take like 10 ticks off of us. I mean, we don't really want to get that wild, but the animals need a place to live, and they need a lot of wild plants. I mean, the stuff that naturally grows in a forest, if you grow it in your yard, then I don't think the deer have to eat like the things that you like, tulips or whatever that you plant. Like, leave some, if you have the space, leave some wild space so that they can nature can maintain herself. All right, so, and then tomorrow we also have the sun in Cancer, which rules mothers, incidentally. Um, Jupiter is stationing retrograde in Pisces. So this solstice is a doorway. It's a doorway. And very often people leave at this time. They'll leave at the solstices. They'll leave. That's why or the cross quarter days. That's why at Halloween the veil is the thinnest, right? But at all of these places, all of these different seasonal changes and axle things, I mean, they're doorways. They're all doorways. So, and we're in an eclipse. And last year there was eclipse right on is the 1 degree of Cancer. So we're still like, that was really a new beginning and a new birth. That was really a rebirth time for the whole planet, not just for America, for the whole planet. It was a rebirth time. So we are being reborn. We're going through fire. We're going through spiritual initiation. The initiation of fire and water. I mean, California is dry as a bone. They're in a huge drought. They're terrified of the fires. You can't blame them. And then you have down like in, what is it, like Mississippi and the Delta and that whole area and Florida. They're like, it's like flooding. That's fire and water is spiritual initiation. America is being initiated. We're going through a death and rebirth cycle, and we have to kind of really think about what it is that's important to us and what kind of life we want to have. What kind of planet do we want to have? Where do we want to put our energy? Do we want to put our energy, going into other countries and bombing people? Is that really what we want to do? Or is there something more beautiful and spiritual and than America in a better in its potential instead of in its shadow, which is kind of what America has been. But we have to also remember that America is a country based on slavery and genocide. But not only that, most of the people or almost all of the people that came to America, not all, but most of them, in those waves of immigration, came because they wanted hope. They wanted something to believe in. Where they came from was terrible. There's a lot of trauma in the past. You think about, maybe my father-in-law is a German. He's from Germany. He came to America, I think in the 50, like 1950, from Germany. And he grew up in Boston. But he was like grown, and he was a German boy, but he liked the German boys because they had caused the war and Hitler and all that stuff. So it wasn't easy for him. And my Italian grandparents, I mean, they had to work really hard. Um, so every immigrant group, all of that, but they came here for opportunity. They came here because where they were was just so traumatic. And so as a country, we are a country of trauma, I don't want to say victims, but traumatized. We come here traumatized. And we're talking about intergenerational trauma. I mean, there are a lot of people hurting. And it's not because, it's because of things within them and within their family dynamic. And it's not just the political thing. That just brings it up. In a way, Trump sort of became he became like a megaphone for our shadow, so we could really see it. And now that we've seen it, now we have to embrace it, and we have to heal it. Okay. The first card is stillness. The interesting thing about stillness, the stillness card, is that at the moment of solstice, the sun, solstice, stops. It stops rising, and then it starts to set. That's solstice. It's a time of stillness. So that's where we're at. That's the moment. Let's see what's crossing him. The meander. The meander. The challenge is that, people are on different levels. Relating to people is you're on different levels of understanding. You're on different levels of knowledge. I think one of the things that maybe we learn from this time, with the North Node in Gemini is about seeing both sides, seeing the black, seeing the white, seeing the duality, seeing the extreme. And then choosing the middle path. But we're all in a different place on the path. And so it makes it difficult sometimes to see eye to eye. And perhaps that's not where we need to see each other. We need to see each other heart to heart. When you see somebody like a Donald Trump being a bully, instead of wanting to put him in jail, maybe just visualize him as an infant who, is not getting his needs met, is afraid, and there's nobody to quell his fears, so he feels like he has to constantly push fear away. We just send, I would say love, but you don't say no, just human to human, open heart. You don't have to send him love. You can just realize that he's a human. Although sometimes it's hard, but he's taken that path, he's taken that role, just like Biden has taken the role of somebody who's going to take us into the next age. And we all have our roles. And I think that if we can step away from the judgment that we have for each other, the judgment we have for, And taking away our judgment doesn't mean that karma isn't going to happen to them. You know, it's cause and effect. It's cause and effect. Who knows? Maybe these people who are the worst are the ones who, you know, are the most transformational or something, you know? I mean, we could do it another way. I mean, certainly Jesus was a transformational figure. And he has sown more love than any man could sow hate. So, you know, we're okay. We have to love one another. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Unfortunately, most people don't like themselves. So love yourself. If you can't love yourself, at least like yourself. Find something every day, you know, to say, you did a good job. You don't have to hear it from somebody else. Hear it from yourself. You know, if you're not the best, say, I don't know, cook. And, you know, you cook like mediocre food, but you make something nice or something a little special and people notice and it feels good, right? It feels good. We have to love, we have to appreciate one another. Get out of our heads. We have to get out of our heads. We have to see, but, you know, I was watching Sadhguru, S-A-D-H Guru, talking to some guy, I don't have no idea who he was, but he said that in our culture, and I'm paraphrasing, and please, I apologize if I don't get it right. In our culture, we see things, we're very intellectual. And what the intellect does is it separates. And so it cuts things apart. It dissects things. In order to dissect, you need a blade. And so it dissects things, but if that's the only thing you develop, then the only thing you know how to do is like poke people with sharp objects. And so and that's what we've been doing. We've been poking each other with sharp objects for how long now? How long do we have to do that? How about just loving one another? How about just loving one another? But we are on a meandering path, and that is the challenge. That is the challenge. And so the only place we can really come together, I think, is in our hearts, in our love, in our ability to open up to love and gratitude. Love of nature. She's loving us every day for a millennium or however long we've been on. She's the giver of life. We're part of her. Our bodies come from her. We have to treat her right. We have to love one another. Let's see what's at the root. Dreams. Oh, I love this card at the root. Dreams. This is about, and I'll hold it back. I know it's not easy to read, but isn't it just such a beautiful card? This is at the root of the matter. What are you dreaming into existence? What is it that you want to dream? Where is your energy? Where is your focus? What are you dreaming about? What are your dreams? Dreams are a part of the imagination. And the imagination is the feminine, whereas the intellect is the masculine. So we need to utilize and dream the big dream. In fact, it's part of the balancing. We've been on the intellectual level for so long in that direction, giving that all our credence, that we're starting to, come back a little bit to center, I think. And so utilizing our imaginations. It's interesting. I just had a thought. Growing up, I would watch programs, and, I had my favorites, Star Trek, Lancer, such a huge crush on Johnny Madrid, but Um, it was like prescribed, right? Like like somebody was deciding like what you would see. And there's so many more choices now of what to see. I mean, there were like three networks when I was a kid, and that was, and PBS, like four channels. And now there's like zillion. I mean, who knows? I don't even actually watch much TV anymore, but there are like numerous channels, right? And there's so much to watch, but like it's really about, instead of watching, it's imagining. Like let's not watch anymore. Let's create our own like dreams, our own movies, right? And people are actually doing that. And even as I sit here very humbly at this desk, I'm creating my own movie here. I'm putting out my creative input out into the world. And we're at a time in our evolution and we have the technology that we can do that. And so it's really important that you put yourself out. You put your love, you put your creativity, you put the things that make you feel alive. You put that out there. And we're going to create together. We're going to dream the dream together. If life is but a dream, why are we stuck in a nightmare? Let's stop the nightmare. Let's dream in heaven on earth. We have in the past the moon. The moon is like our terrestrial, how we react and respond to life. Our feelings, our instincts, really, is the moon. The moon is very instinctual. In the tarot, the moon card has the wolf and the domesticated dog in it, because it reminds us that we have two sides. We have a intelligent, domesticated side, and we have a wolf. We have a wild side. We're still wild. We're still half wild, folks. And that's not bad. It's not bad. But we do have to know when we're coming from one place and when we're coming from the other place. We do have to know that ultimately we have to come from a higher place than that sort of instinctual, maybe even fearful place. All right. Let's see what's in the sky. Oh my God. Healing. Can you believe these cards? Healing. This is a huge opportunity to heal. This solstice, tomorrow, is a huge opportunity to heal. What I would suggest that you do in whatever way you can, is to do a little solstice. Light a candle or do something a little special. And then think about, is there anybody like that needs healing energy? Because it's as if the guides are so very close, offering us healing. We're moving, we're moving through, I don't know if it's like a dimension, but certainly a vibration. We're moving through a vibration, a higher vibration, and we have to be able to reach it. We have to be able to reach it. And a lot of that is the let go of forgiveness. A lot of that is just being willing to accept help and the healing, knowing that you deserve it because you're just breathing. Who deserves, when you're a doctor, you take an oath and you will heal whoever comes. If the president and the guy who shoots the president come into the same hospital, those doctors are going to work on those two people. Or the victim, when the victimizer, right, They're going to work on those people not as a victim or a victimizer. They're going to work on those people as a person. And that's the kind of dedication to other people that, people in the medical profession have. And it can be exhausting, and there are a lot of rules, and there's a lot of drugs, and while, the drugs do help in certain cases, it's hard. It's hard. Healing, and the healers need healing. The healers need healing. And we all need healing. Everybody needs healing. The healers need it. The cops need it. The people who Black Lives Matter need it. The Proud Boys need it. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs the healing. And the healing is here. So, reach up and reach for it. That's what these cards say. Eruption. Something is going to give, and it's going to be big. Something is going to give. Now, is it a seismic thing? It could be. Is it a climate thing? It could be. Is it a political thing? It could be. It's all the same, right? It's all the same. It's energy that's being released after boiling under the surface because of the pressure on it. We have to break out. We'll be breaking out. And volcanoes are sacred to Pele. She's the goddess of Kali, right? The goddesses of transformation. The anger, that boiling over, tired of being suppressed and oppressed. It's time to erupt and express yourself. But instead of expressing ourselves in anger and hurt and striking out, let's express ourselves through our creativity. It's the same energy, really. Why not use it to make things beautiful instead of to destroy things and make things hard? Let's make things easy. Ease of movement. I said to my class today that it's funny that for Mother's Day, a lot of times women get like very Vesuvian things like flowers, and for her garden, or maybe some women get jewelry, some women get candy, something sweet. Very Vesuvian. And at Father's Day, they get like ties, like things that's like a ligature, like things that they can tie things up with, right? Hold things together. I just thought it was kind of funny. And I said that to my students today. But we need to create. We need to express. We need to erupt, but not in anger. But not in anger. We could. The energy is there. You see? It's the choice. How are you going to focus your energy through this period, through this summer? Is it going to be a summer of hellfire inferno, or is it going to be a summer of love? We haven't had a summer of love in a long time. Only instead of summer of love, just sort of, although I don't really know about the summer of love because I was just a baby. I'm thinking the summer of love meant that people made love, but maybe that's not what it was about. I don't know. Somebody tell me. I didn't read on it, so I don't know. But it's time. It's time for, I hear people shooting off fireworks, probably for Juneteenth. Oh, happy Juneteenth, by the way. Oh my God. You feel it. Like I can feel it. It's like this, it's like just, I don't know. It's just something. It's like another healing. It's another layer. It's soft. It's not like when Obama became president. That was like a religious experience. That was like, I heard the angels. It was such a healing. Oh, I can still feel it. And when he was walking like through the streets, all I kept thinking was, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. I didn't want it snatched away, you know. But we got him for 8 years, and there's a lot of things he couldn't do. He was young, I think he was inexperienced. Maybe he thought too much of people and the intellect. It's not the intellect, but the heart that matters. You know, he had a lot of, when Sandy Hook happened, that was big for him. That was big for all of us. But they don't have to leave in vain, for sure. Love is coming around, folks. Love is coming around. And underneath it all is productivity. That's it, creativity. All this creative energy, what are you going to do with it? When I had the spark to do the astrology table that you see in the mornings, that was just like an inspiration. Spirit said, why don't you make because somebody told me about an artist who had made her a wheel that she could put like her planets around, like 3D almost. And I thought, oh man, I could do that. I have that table, and I have that wood I found, and I have all the glass from my old stained glass projects that I never had the heart to throw out because they were so beautiful. Even though I couldn't use them in the work I was doing, I was like, someday I'll make a mosaic with it or something, and that's what I ended up doing. Because I was like, Spirit said, do this. This is part. It was almost like a talisman that I had to create to bring me to the next level. It's like the gift that you have to give the gatekeeper. And in a way, maybe that's what the gift is. The gift is us. We are the people we've been waiting for. Why can't we gift the world with our creative heart? You know, the Aquarian age is really about moving into the heart, because Pluto goes into Aquarius, at least initially, the beginning of the Aquarian age. A lot of people think it's when Pluto goes into Aquarius, and there are others who believe it started, you know, at the birth of democracy. But it doesn't really matter. We're here now. We're here now, and we can really make a huge difference. We could make a huge difference. So let's do it, right? Let's just create. There'll be scuffles, a little bit here and there. There'll be boundaries. We have to work together. We have to work together and come to compromise and come to an understanding. Yeah. Stillness. The meandering road. I should just show you the cards while I say this, I think. The stillness, when the sun stands still in the sky, that moment. Check your local time on that. That would be a really good time to just have a moment of silence. Like, be in the stillness with the earth and see what you feel. That's why I think you need to do like a ceremony, a get together. I'm trying to get my 2 girlfriends to come over so we can do something for the solstice. Because I think it's important. It's an important step. And then the challenge to that is just, you know, where are you on the road? This is a road that, you know, goes, but you see, it's like an infinity, really. It's like an open infinity. But as you know, get further up, You know, you spend more time in the light, less time at the bends. That would be the moon, square the nodes of the moon for those of you astrologers out there. When the moon is square the nodes, you can see both ends. It's like you can see both ends of the nodes. It's like a choice point. And then, of course, at the root was the dreams. Dream your dreams. What are you dreaming? What world do you want to dream in? I like this world. The beautiful nature and the majesty, where we're living in harmony with nature instead of trying to beat her into submission, instead of taking everything. And the earth will, if we don't blow ourselves up with a nuclear bomb, there's probably nothing that the earth can't eventually overcome. But she'll be here and we won't. So dream the dream. What do you want to live? What kind of life do you want to live? What do you want it to look like? What do you want your environment to look like? What do you want your neighborhood to look like? What do like, picture it. And not as an exercise in separation, but an exercise in like the possibilities of expansion, new experience, new understandings. Instead of being fearful, get excited for what's out there and what's new and what you can learn. The North Node eclipse that we just had was in Gemini with Mercury retrograde, but all the same, Mercury retrograde means Mercury's closer. And so it's closer to the earth. So our psychic sense is like, if you're wondering why you're feeling the way you're feeling, our third eyes are wide open. And that's part of the awakening. That's part of the uncovering. And it's happening. And it's going to continue to happen through the summer. And so the choice is, this summer, what's your dream? Understanding that you have two sides to yourself. And that sometimes one side will take over the other side. And it's okay. It's okay. You can come back to center. Healing available right now. This is a huge wave of healing energy. Our guides are beaming on us. And that's why a lot of healers are even more powerful than they've ever been. Because they are channeling, because they're more open, their frequency is a little wider, they're channeling that healing energy. We're in a very special, special time. And then the eruption. Did I show you the healing card again? Sorry. Well, I don't think I even showed you the moon card. So we had the moon card. That was the past and the healing. So that's all the healing energy that you're feeling. And then eruption. What do you want to erupt? Is that anger or is that creativity? Is it are you a creator or a destroyer? Which one? I like creator myself. I do. I like creator much better. I'm sure I've had lifetimes as a destroyer. We all have. But not this one. Not this one. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I know I got a little personal, and I want you to know that I do appreciate all the love and all the sweet comments and so many thoughtful comments on my dailies. It means the world to me, guys. I love connecting, and I know I don't always like answer a lot and stuff, but I just don't have the, my life is, you know, with my mother is just so intense that I don't have really hardly room for anybody. I barely have room for Michael, and he's a good enough guy to give me the space I need without feeling like I'm abandoning him. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.